So a game of Fall Guys consists of 5 rounds in which 60 players go in at the start.
Crazy obstacle courses, team games, arena battles. There's a huge amount of variety.
And the player count gets whittled down till eventually there is one winner at the end.
When designing the levels for Fall Guys, we were thinking very much about what their aim in life was, and that came down to the game show aspect.
Well, we watch a lot of videos of things that our game is based on, so things like Takeshi's Castle, It's a Knockout, obstacle course videos. Those things are ripe with the same sorts of concepts that are in Fall Guys.
The other things we did were a bit more practical. Like, we thought we had to really get into the head of a Fall Guy. Some of us went to what's called the Monster at Alexandra Palace. We spent a couple of hours just hurling ourselves around this insane, bouncy obstacle course.
But then that also led into this idea of this sort of playfulness and the idea of them being full of energy and bouncing into things. We made everything soft, and so there's lots of inspiration came from the soft play areas that the kids use. So there's lots of vinyl padding and bright coloured bouncy walls and scaffolding and kind of all the stuff that parents will probably recognise.
In other companies I've been in, a level designer will only design environments and structures. So a game designer will give them limitations and tell them what needs to happen in a space, and a level designer will create that space.
Working as a level designer on Fall Guys is an interesting process because we are essentially designing a new game each time we do it. Obviously, we have the restraints of what you can do in Fall Guys, but we're not just making new levels, we're making new game modes.
We sort of go through a pretty rigid process which involves the entire team, which I think a lot of other level design processes don't go through.
Myself and the other designers, we get in a room and we throw out mechanic ideas.
You know, how can the level design bring the best out of the game design? And I think there's something really cool in the way we have to work on this game.
Because there are so many players in Fall Guys, and because there's all that chaos, it creates these unique moments. But you have to provide players with the tools and the playground for those moments to happen within.
And so the world had to be completely non-threatening. It had to be something that you'd want to jump into this. Like, I don't care if I jump over this thing because I know I'm going to bounce off and fall onto that other thing. I might run into this spinning platform with this big hammer, but it's a big inflatable hammer, so it's going to knock me off and I'm not going to get hurt. So that kind of, the enthusiasm for the game kind of leads into the design of the levels.
So for every great Fall Guys round, there is a sad room where there's just a giant trash heap of failed ideas.
I made a basketball round that I stand by as one of the greatest things I've ever played. Everybody else who touched it said it was awful and that it couldn't work, it would never work. But I've held on to the files, and I'm pretty sure we're going to get it in one day. So look out for basketball. It's coming any day.
This is a myth amongst the team. There was a Minesweeper level that originally got pitched, and they made a prototype of it.
I concepted a round based on minesweeping. So you had basically a minefield that Fall Guys had to run across, and if they ran over a mine, the ground exploded and they went flying up into the air.
Nobody really understood the concept because it's very confusing. That was a very weird one.
Didn't quite work. It wasn't fun, and if it's not fun, it's not Fall Guys.
And from there, I think the best ideas come. We have a lot of ideas where, a lot of round ideas where maybe it didn't work out, but there was one little thing that we were like, that felt really fun. Let's try and make something around just that.
My favourite events are basically the races. Anytime where you get to just charge through the level with 40 other dudes, getting knocked over, bouncing all over the place, being smashed around, and then somehow managing to scrape through to the end is the most satisfying.
I love the logic games. We've only got one in there at the moment. It's called Matchfall, but you have to remember a sequence. I like that because all of the players who normally do well in our team don't do as well in that round. And I think that's just a really nice way of balancing that for players that are good at, say, remembering something as opposed to players who are really good at physical challenges.
I'm a massive football fan, and the first round I got put on for that reason was the football level. And, you know, it's so simple. It's just 2 balls, 2 teams, 2 goals. Football for me is the one that I can't get bored of it. I just want to play. I want to play it right now, if I'm honest.
It's no contest, it's full mountain. We prototyped this round in the very early days, took it to a bunch of shows, and people loved it, and it's just sort of got a special place in my heart.
So one of the most exciting things about Fall Guys is that we're going to be continually adding new game modes, and on top of that we're going to be taking the game modes that are already there and remixing them and creating new experiences for those game modes and new maps and that kind of thing. So I think the Fall Guys experience is going to continually change, which is really exciting.
PlayStation